A moment in Congress can erupt so suddenly that even the people sitting in the room forget to breathe, and that's exactly what happened. The second Representative Shri Thanedar leaned forward, locked his eyes on Secretary Kristi Noem, and accused her of lying under oath. It wasn't a gentle disagreement, it wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a full-scale confrontation that stunned the chamber and sent shockwaves through everyone watching. And the reason it hit so hard is simple. Thanedar wasn't reading from a script, he was unleashing months of pent-up frustration over claims that the Department of Homeland Security had ignored federal court orders and misled the American public about who ICE was actually detaining.
Gentleman's time expired. I now recognize the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Thanedar, for 5 minutes of questions. Please remember to stick to the 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Garbarino and Ranking Member Thompson, for having this hearing today. I know the American people have been demanding answers from this administration on their unlawful actions, so I hope we are able to get some useful answers from our witnesses today. Secretary Noem, this past May, I asked you during a congressional hearing if it was the policy of DHS to follow orders issued by federal courts. You said on the record, and I'm quoting here, "We are following all federal orders." End of your quote. Secretary Noem, you lied to me under oath that day. You lied to the American people, and you have betrayed the trust placed upon you in your role as Secretary of Homeland Security. You defied federal court orders when you refused to order the deportation flights to El Salvador in March to turn around. Federal courts have also found your department to have violated federal injunctions in your continue to send non-citizens on deportation flights, with some courts having called your orders unlawful. Secretary Noem, I just have 3 questions for you. 1, why did you lie under oath by saying DHS was following all federal court orders when they clearly were not?
Congressman.
Question 2, let me finish my questions. Question 2, why did you mislead the American people when you said that no American citizens have been arrested or detained by federal immigration agents? And my last question, number 3, Donald Trump said that your ICE agents haven't gone far enough. Do you think terrorizing American citizens and assaulting peaceful protesters isn't far enough?
Congressman, the Department of Homeland Security and this administration complies with all federal court orders. We always have and we always will.
Not true.
And we will continue to appeal. And sir, I will even tell you that at the highest court, at the Supreme Court, the Department of Homeland Security in our litigation has an over 90% success rate in winning at the highest court in our battle against activist judges across this country.
Madam Secretary,
we will continue to appeal. And then when it gets to the highest court and we get a decision, it is proven that we are right, that we have been compliant. I will also say,
Madam Secretary, let me...
Do you want me to answer your questions or not?
I do, but let me... you haven't been telling us the truth. Look, there have been at least 170 known cases of citizens being arrested or detained by federal immigration agents this year alone. This is the truth. Are you lying to the American people right now by denying these reports?
When we are doing our targeted enforcement operations against criminal illegal aliens, individuals that are in that area may be detained until we verify who they are, and then they are released. This has been done for years, and every single law enforcement operation that has always happened, we follow the same protocols, and we continue to do that. We have never once detained or deported an American citizen. We have not held them and charged them. When we find out and verify their identity, then that is when they are released. You also asked about ICE agents going far enough. Sir, I will tell you that every single ICE agent, CBP agent, federal law enforcement officer that's out there doing their work every day, none of them will rest until our communities are safe. None of them will rest until terrorists,
Secretary Noem, it is a fact that you ignored federal orders.
And our children and our grandchildren can grow up.
Let me reclaim my time here, please. Let me reclaim. Secretary Noem, it is a fact that you ignored federal court orders in March and in May of this year. Do you plan on ignoring more federal orders?
We always
I'm sick of your lies. And the American people demand the
Because
truth.
you keep saying it doesn't make it true.
I am sick of your lies. The American people are sick of these lies. American people demand truth.
America is very happy that finally they have a president in the White House that gets up every day to keep them safe.
Madam Secretary, your incompetence and your inability to truthfully carry out your duties of Secretary of Homeland Security, if you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields back his time. I'll remind members that they are entitled to ask questions during their time. Witnesses are entitled to answer those questions. Members are entitled to reclaim their time. So if we're going to have questions and answers, please allow it. You can reclaim your time if you want, but witnesses are here voluntarily. Please at least give them a chance to answer the questions that you're asking. I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Pfluger, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's unfortunate that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle for 5 straight years now have no concern for anything worldwide threats-wise, and have proven that. We're supposed to be talking about worldwide threats, but unfortunately we're talking about homeland threats in our homeland. And Director, can you just reaffirm the number for us of people that match the terror watch list that are in our country?
There's 18,000 known and suspected terrorists in the country right now that came in under Joe Biden's watch.
18,000.
18,000.
What followed became one of the most explosive oversight moments of the year, a clash that peeled back layers of confusion, contradictions, and political firepower until nothing was left but raw conflict. Thanedar didn't waste time. He opened his questioning with a sharp reminder of what Secretary Noem had previously sworn under oath, that DHS, under her watch, followed every single federal court order. Then he dropped the accusation that set the tone for the next 5 minutes: "You lied to me under oath that day." There was no hesitation, no softening. He said she betrayed the trust of the American people. In congressional hearings, lawmakers often choose careful wording, but not this time. Thanedar made it clear he believed DHS had violated court injunctions, ignored orders to halt deportation flights, and acted outside the boundaries of law. And as the weight of his accusations settled over the room, you could feel the tension building, waiting for the moment Noem would respond. But Thanedar wasn't finished. He said he had 3 questions and he didn't want answers until all 3 were out. That alone told everyone watching this wasn't going to be a normal exchange. The first question hit at the foundation of the controversy: why she claimed DHS followed all court directives when multiple rulings said otherwise. Deportation flights that were supposed to stop reportedly continued. Judges in different districts described DHS actions as unlawful. Thanedar framed it not as a disagreement but as deliberate disobedience. He was building a narrative of a department pushing past the limits of federal authority. Noem remained silent, waiting for her turn, but Thanedar pressed forward. The second question shifted the spotlight to something even more unsettling: American citizens being detained by immigration agents. Not rumors, numbers. According to him, at least 170 known cases occurred this year alone. That claim alone could shake public trust in an agency meant to protect the country, not mistake its own citizens for deportable individuals. And yet Thanedar insisted that Noem denied every single one of those incidents. He asked, why mislead the public? Then he unleashed the third question, the one that raised the stakes and set off political alarms across the chamber. He referenced comments from a former administration suggesting ICE hadn't gone far enough. He asked if she believed terrorizing citizens and assaulting peaceful protesters wasn't already far enough. It was a loaded question, a challenge wrapped inside another challenge, and the moment he finished, the room seemed to hold its breath. Thanedar had moved from questioning to full confrontation, and now everyone waited to see whether Noem would defend herself, deflect, or fire back. When Noem finally spoke, she tried to stabilize the storm. She insisted DHS always complies with federal court orders and always has. She repeated it as fact, presenting DHS as a disciplined agency bound by law, not driven by ideology. She highlighted the department's high success rate at the Supreme Court. But Thanedar interrupted, calling that not true. He pressed again: cases existed, documented and public, showing DHS acting in violation of injunctions. Noem pushed back harder, saying DHS appeals rulings and ultimately complies when decisions reach their final stage. The legal dance between injunction, appeal, and enforcement became a battlefield of definitions. Thanedar insisted compliance should mean immediate obedience. Noem argued compliance meant following the final word of the highest court. That difference, timing and interpretation, fueled the fire. Then came the clash over citizens being detained. Thanedar said the number was more than 170. Noem said DHS had never detained or deported an American citizen. She admitted individuals in enforcement zones may be briefly held until verified, but insisted none were actually deported. That distinction, while technically significant, didn't ease the tension. In fact, it made Thanedar push harder. He said she was lying to the American people. He repeated that he was sick of lies. His frustration boiled over to the point where he asked directly whether she would resign. Noem responded with one of the most unexpected lines of the hearing. She interpreted his call for resignation as an endorsement of her work. The room reacted instantly. Members shifted in their seats, some murmured. Others stared ahead, unsure whether she was deflecting, joking, or reframing the attack with confidence. Whatever her intent, the effect was the same. It heightened the tension. The chairman had to intervene shortly after, reminding everyone that witnesses were allowed to answer questions and members could reclaim time, but only after allowing responses. The breakdown in decorum showed just how heated and chaotic the exchange had become. Oversight hearings are meant to extract information, not collapse into confrontation, yet this one was cracking apart under the pressure. But just as the energy reached its peak, the hearing took a sudden and dramatic turn. Representative August Pfluger reclaimed the narrative, shifting from domestic accusations to global threats. He criticized his colleagues for spending the past several years focused on internal political fights rather than the external dangers facing the nation. His tone was different, calmer, but cutting. He said they were supposed to be discussing worldwide threats, yet the conversation had drifted into homeland controversies. And then he asked the director a simple question: could he confirm the number of suspected terrorists currently inside the country? The answer dropped like a bomb. 18,000. 18,000 known or suspected individuals on terrorist watch lists were believed to be in the United States. Pfluger repeated the number, as though saying it out loud made it any less staggering. 18,000. Even if the number included mismatches, mistaken identities, or data discrepancies, the scale alone was shocking. It reframed the entire error. What started as a battle over court compliance and civil liberties expanded into a sprawling conversation about national security, border enforcement, and the vulnerabilities that come with a system under strain. That number didn't erase the earlier confrontation, it amplified it. If DHS was already struggling with court orders, operational oversight, and public trust, how was it also managing a list of potential threats this large? Pfluger didn't accuse, he didn't condemn, he simply put the number in the air and let it hover there, forcing everyone in the room and everyone watching to confront what it meant. The contrast between domestic criticism and external danger brought the hearing to a new level. The issues were no longer isolated arguments. They were interconnected. A department accused of mishandling legal directives was also responsible for protecting the nation from individuals flagged in global intelligence networks. By the time the exchange wrapped, the hearing had exposed something deeper than political tension. It revealed how fragile the balance of trust, authority, and responsibility has become. Thanedar's accusations showed the fear that an agency might overreach. Pfluger's numbers showed the fear that it might not be doing enough. Noem's defense showed the challenge of running a department under intense scrutiny, battling both legal constraints and political expectations. Each perspective collided in real time, creating a hearing that felt less like a structured inquiry and more like a raw, unfiltered confrontation with the question everyone was circling around: who was actually keeping the country safe? And that's what makes this moment so powerful. It wasn't just a lawmaker calling out a cabinet secretary. It wasn't just a debate over procedures, detentions, or injunctions. It was a collision of narratives: government transparency, executive power, public safety, internal accountability, and global threat oversight. The hearing forced all of them into the same room and made viewers confront them all at once. If you want deeper breakdowns of the moments Congress hopes people forget, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the stories shaping the country behind the scenes.